Warning: the views and opinions expressed in this program are our own and/or those of our guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of our employers. Viewers' discretion is advised.
The deal-making business is the people business.
Good morning, West Virginia. Rate cut. Watch out.
Let's get into advice number 2, how to set your team up for the holidays for success and not stress.
I'm going to bring this point up right now. Do not burn bridges chasing after commission checks.
In all seriousness, it comes down to the will of the customer at the end of the day. You're not going to force anybody to pick up the phone during the holiday season.
Promise I'm not being petty. I'm the one they envy. Brody moving state to state. Make $1 million out the semi. Plus I grinded from the start. I was stacking pennies. I might dip like Machiavelli. After the confetti, who ready? We ready. Who ready? We ready. Who ready? Who? We ready. Who? Who ready? Who? We ready. Who? Who ready? We ready. Who ready? We ready. Who ready? Who? We ready. Who? Who ready? Who? We ready. Who?
Y'all been watching football? Have y'all been seeing what the Lions are doing to all these other teams? You see how they are dismantling the rest of the NFL? Just piece by piece by piece?
I don't know. The Falcons are doing pretty good. It's time for me to go back to the Super Bowl to support.
I already have my plane booked. I already have an Airbnb reserved. I'm not playing in New Orleans. It's already done.
I went to the Super Bowl. I had I think $300 to my name and spent $3,000 on a credit card for a Super Bowl ticket. 2015, 16, whenever the 28-3 game too. Great memories. They lost.
So the best thing to do, Hackney, is you go to the Super Bowl. Don't buy a Super Bowl ticket. Wait until the first quarter, and then you can get scalp Super Bowl tickets dirt cheap. I'm talking like $800 to $1,500 a pop for decent seats. Because at that point, they're desperate, right? They're trying to get them off. Yeah, I've done that a couple times. I did that for Super Bowl 50 here in Detroit.
Oh. So I'm thinking Detroit Lions, Atlanta Falcons NFC Championship game in Detroit. We all go.
Oh,
I'd love to.
go.
I would
If that's
100% go.
Yeah, that's happening.
come up to
happening.
my city, man. I'm
Yeah.
gonna show you a time.
Yeah.
We'll do an episode. We'll do a NFL episode. Let's go.
We come in
don't
early.
even
We get
need
fur
a-
coats. We get fresh.
We don't even need a hotel. We can stay at the Castle
we can rock
Kroge,
some
man.
Gators. Absolutely.
You got 6 bedrooms, bro.
I got plenty of room in my house for sure.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the BDO Show, the #1 podcast in the nation for passionate BDOs wanting to level up their game with advice and stories from battle-tested BDOs. I'm your co-host, Emily, and I'm here with my fellow co-hosts, Alan Peterson, Chris Hackney, Sterling Birdsong, and Ryan Kroge. Thank you for being with us, and at the beginning of each episode, we will always remind you to smash that like button, subscribe, and send over your topics and suggestions to the BDO Show at artofsba.com. And do not forget to check out our whole family of shows, including SBA Today, which airs live every week on LinkedIn, as well as our flagship program, the Art of SBA Lending Podcast. BDOs. Have you ever had a borrower bring in like a brother-in-law to do their life insurance? Doesn't end well, does it? We've all been there. When you require life insurance on your SBA loan, it's critical that you bring in a company that specializes in getting these policies in place for the SBA loans. The last thing you want is for life insurance to be the holdup. We all know that's a rookie mistake. SBA Protection Quick Close Life Insurance is the fastest, easiest way to secure the insurance protection that your borrower needs for their SBA loan. Their process is simple, hassle-free, and only takes a few minutes of your borrower's time. No lengthy paperwork, no complicated forms. They even have programs that don't require labs or doctor records for approval. And best of all, you will have the collateral assignment back in less than 24 hours. It's a no-brainer. Go to SBAprotection.com for more information or email Adam Bergen at adam@sbaprotection.com.
Rate cut today keeps the clawback away.
Good morning, West Virginia. Rate cut. Watch out. We're coming for you. All you fixed rate lenders,
We're coming.
we'll be competing in no time.
All you deposit gatherers, look out.
All you order
Rate cut.
takers, all you specialists. Coming after
25
you.
bips.
Coming after you.
25
That's the
bips.
opening of the episode. Boom, mic
25
drop.
bips.
Okay, so before we start the episode, we want to talk about what is going on in the news right now, a rate drop. Chris, why don't you take it away and let's talk about what that's going to mean for our country.
Yeah, the Fed just announced a rate cut of 25 basis points. Prime is now 7.75%. What that does, it lowers the monthly payment on SBA borrowers' loans, which means more loans will cash flow, which means more deals will get done, which means borrowers are going to enjoy lower interest rates, which means us on the BDO show can probably do more loans. There are some deals that are maybe borderline, and maybe 6 months ago when rates were 75 basis point higher, they might not have cash flowed, but maybe they do now on a historical or projected basis. So it's good news all around, and I hope we'll see future rate cuts here soon.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about portfolio stress. A rate cut today, keep that clawback away. I've been dying to say that
Absolutely.
one. So there it is.
Okay, and so, as we talk about rate cuts and, borrowers and the change, let's talk about the holiday season approaching. There's lots of changes and moving parts and schedules and kids' recitals and days off. And we want to go back and kind of recap out of all the advice we've given you over the last year. We want to talk about some serious advice going into the holidays, especially for our new BDOs and even seasoned BDOs. Everybody understands that it's hard to navigate the holidays and you become kind of a pro at it, especially with the amount of years you've been doing this. So why don't we get into advice number 1, and we're going to talk about how to get your borrowers to respond during the holiday season, which is huge. And we all know that there's people everywhere. So Alan, how do you get your borrowers to respond to you?
Make sure that I'm overly communicating my expectations in the beginning to let them know that if we're going to meet this time sensitive date that you have set, that you've determined that you need to close on, that we need to make sure that we hit the milestones in order to maintain momentum, that I need their help to help them achieve it, right? I think that sometimes the borrower might think that they're further along in the process or they don't need to be focusing so much on certain aspects of the submission. I think we just got to let them know, listen, if you're trying to get this thing closed by the end of the year, we need to get into motion today. I need all of this stuff tonight, and we need to keep things moving. The way I do it is I just try to over communicate it and just be very matter of fact, plain. Don't speak in jargon, no use for slime language. Just let them know exactly what's going on, and we want to keep things moving.
Hey, Free Young Thug, by the way. Shout out to that man.
Truly humble under God.
Welcome
Truly
home,
humble
Jeffrey.
under God. Welcome home, Jeffrey.
I have no idea who that is.
We wouldn't think so. This is past your time.
How do you think that rate cut happened? That interest rate cut happened for a reason.
His music only gets played after 9 o'clock at night when you're fast asleep. So to talk about this question here, I think the real answer is that you can't really force anybody to do anything they don't want to do already. So I think you need to plainly ask your customer, do you want to close before year end or would you like to close after year end? Because if you want to close before year end, you need to get things going right now. It's already, today we're recording on the 7th of November. If your deal is not already in process with me right now today, odds are it's probably not going to close before the end of the year. And you need to be open and upfront with people because I know Thanksgiving's coming. After that, Christmas quickly comes. And then after Christmas, no one shows up until the 2nd or 3rd of January.
You forgot Kwanzaa.
Yes,
Kwanzaa.
Exactly.
I light my candles on Kwanzaa every year.
We know you're the only Kwanzaa observer on this call, Kroge.
Absolutely.
So
I'll put my dashiki on and I've got my robe and everything. I'm good to go.
Oh, man. You
Shout
and your
out
nubian
Kwanzaa.
queen. We love that.
Absolutely.
So, no, but I mean, in all seriousness, it comes down to the will of the customer at the end of the day. You're not going to force anybody to pick up the phone during the holiday season. If they want to get a deal done, there's a path to getting a deal done, but it's going to take some heavy lifting, and they're going to have to do a lot of communication. And really, you want it to be down to details by the time you get to the middle of December, because if you're trying to get a deal approved in the middle of December and close before the end of the year, it's just not going to happen. We've all tried to do the buzzer beater, around the time that St. Nick is pulling up, and it just never actually works out that way. You're gonna end up pushing it into January. And if you're a BDO who your commission structure you might actually get paid a lot less on a deal than you would have gotten paid if you got it done in Q4, if you're somebody who's on a tiered commission structure. So, that's something to keep in mind as well. And you gotta plan ahead for this type of stuff. I mean, Chris has done a really good job of letting the lenders in our department know, like, hey, and he said this like 3 or 4 weeks ago, now is your time to get deals in that you want to close in Q4. Now is your time to go to market, tell people, hey, if you want to get a deal done before the end of Q4, let's go ahead and get it in right now. You can see that we have our 2% promotion that's going on right now until the end of the year. And if you want that 2%, you got to close before the end of the year. So that's the way that we're doing it as an incentive to get people to try and close before the end of the year. So yeah, really it comes down to the will of the borrower.
SBA BDOs, it's your fiscal year, is the way I explain it, is really October through October. You can't think on a calendar January to December. I always, October, I need all these deals in by October 31st to really know where I'm going to end up the year. So operate in that mindset. Like Sterling said, hey, when do you actually want to close? Sometimes there's tax implications for the seller, or when you're buying a building, things like that the borrower might be interested in, that you need to know up front. If they do want to close in December, even if you are getting the deal in October or early November, now is the time to really cater to your tribe and have your tribe, your closers, underwriters look at stuff prematurely. So you might want to pull your closer in and say, hey, I got this deal. It's coming in. What do we need on this? Can we go ahead and get title engaged? Can we go ahead and get a checklist worked up on it? I can have them start working on some stuff. Even if it's not a crunch deal, it'll just make things go smoother, because the holidays you always have delays, right? So why not pull your closers into a deal earlier in November, late October, rather than stress them out in December to say, we got to get this done. We got to get this done when they're trying to spend time with their family and loved ones.
Yeah, because that's the thing, is that people don't think about that. It's not just the customer who's going to be probably taking time off. It's not just the lender. It's everybody. So it's the closer, it's the underwriter, it's the third party reports as well. Yes. So your appraiser is trying to take time off during that time. The environmental person, your attorney who's closing the loan is trying to take time off.
7,000 moving parts.
2 weeks of the year off, basically.
Not Paul Rush, though.
Shout out to Paul Rush.
This is my 25th year going through a fourth quarter, right? And so I've kind of got it nailed down. Jeez, Hackney. My goodness. I just threw Chris for a loop.
Chris just spit his water everywhere.
They said 25th fourth quarter. My goodness, Kroge. Do you need a cane? Do you need a walker? Hang it up. You're done.
Hang it up.
Take those player boots up and hang them up on the wall. You are done, son. My goodness.
No.
But like Sterling mentioned, I like to have the frank conversations with my clients. Do you have a drop dead date that you have to be done with before year end? Is it tax implications? Do you have year end stuff that have to be done? Are you leaving the country in January? Let me know now, because I'm going to give you in writing a list of dates that you need to meet certain type of milestones. All right. You need to have this stuff done by these dates, or you are not closing by year end. And I'm putting it in stone. And then by October 15th, I'm cutting it off. Anybody coming in trying to close by year end, you're done. You're done. We can't do that for two very specific reasons. Number one is capacity, but number two is I need to take care of my tribe. All right. As much as my tribe takes care of me from January all the way through the end of September, I got to make sure they're taken care of during their holiday season, that they get to spend time with their family, that they get to take Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all the other points in between off so that they can relax, recharge. Because guess what? We're closing $80 million within my pod just through me this year. We're going to do it again next year and probably set the bar a little bit higher. So they're going to have to be on their A game, and I need to make sure they're taken care of, they're rested, they're ready to go, and they're hitting the ground running come January 2nd.
Let's get into advice number 2, how to set your team up for the holidays for success and not stress. Like a lot of people have children and family in town and travel plans. How do you talk to your team to make sure everyone's on the same page, not only so they can enjoy the holiday, but the borrowers aren't stressed out and everybody's kind of cohesive?
I already have those conversations with my pod back in September. Back in September, once third quarter is getting wrapped up, right at the very end of September, when we're closing out the rest of third quarter, I have that conversation with them. And it's kind of nice that Al and I are in pods. So I have very specific people I get to have this conversation with and say, what are your vacation plans? What are you doing around the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas? What are you taking off? Because I'm going to tell you right now, come December 20th, we're not closing anything from December 20th to the year end because that's just too stressful. Too many things are going on. We've got year end at the bank. We've got year end with all the different closings within our departments. I'm not trying to stress everybody out the last 2 weeks of the year. So that right there, you're off. If you want to take 2 weeks off from December 20th to the end of the year, go right on ahead because I will not close anything between those 2 weeks. I'll take deals. I'll look at them. I'll have them go into underwriting, but we are not closing anything between those 2 weeks. That's for my closers. For my underwriters, we need to make sure that we have everything lined up to be able to close what we have promised to close and what have met the milestones before December 20th. All right. And you need to tell me what your milestones are so that we can meet those dates. Because come December 20th to the end of the year, we're done. We are done. And I'm setting those expectations up front crystal clear because everybody needs to rest. Because as soon as January comes around, clock resets, baby. We're back to zero and we're starting again. We're hitting the ground running. So everybody needs to rest. Everybody needs to take some time off. Everybody needs to chill. And Al and I, along with a couple of the other guys within our group, we like to fly around at the beginning of December just to see our entire group. We like to meet with the underwriters, the closers, our senior management team, just so we can celebrate what we've done all year long. So we want to take that time out to thank them. And then at the end of the year, we want them to take some time out to be with their families. Because this is a grind, man. As much as we as BDOs grind day in and day out, our closers, our underwriters, our portfolio managers, everybody else behind the scenes making it work, our tribe, they're working twice as hard just to keep up with us.
And remember, they don't get commission checks either.
Exactly. Some of them do, some of them don't, but they're not they're not getting what we're getting. And so we got to take care of them better than the way we're taking care of.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to know, like Ryan said, you got to know your team's plans and vacation schedules and what's coming up so you can manage expectations. And also, you should have a backup. If someone is taking a full week for Thanksgiving and you have someone that is not on the closing team, is there someone that could step in as documents are coming in to keep things going? Your closing manager and your underwriting managers, or really your closing manager, should be able to schedule that and have backups for closers as they are out, specifically in November. I agree with Ryan. As you approach the end of December, past a certain date, second or third week, it's very hard, very stressful to get things closed and done. Even your borrowers are like, man, can we just do this in January? Even if they say they want to close, unless there's some money on the line that goes hard or that they're going to lose an expense deposit, you lose most borrowers after that December 20th time frame.
I'm going to bring this point up right now. Do not burn bridges chasing after commission checks. All right? Do not burn bridges chasing after commission checks. If you're trying to get that extra $1 million, that extra $2 million at the very end of the year, just so that you can hit a tier, but yet you're burning out your closer, you're burning out your underwriter, you're stressing your borrower out, you might even lose a referral source over it, don't do it. Set up boundaries, set up expectations so that you can get stuff done, but you're letting people breathe. Let people breathe. Let them relax. Let them understand that, yes, this is a stressful process already. You don't need to make it more stressful by putting the pressure on it just because you want to get a check, just because you want to hit a certain tier by the end of the year, just because you want to hit a certain personal best of your career. Don't do it. Trust me, just do not do it.
What about internal gift giving? Do you guys tend to take care of your people by playing Santa Claus a little bit? What kind of gifts do you guys give out?
Al and I go on a road trip. We go to Chicago because we got an office there, so we got a lot of portfolio managers. We have with Jared Johnson. we got portfolio managers and some other closers out in Chicago. So we go there first, buy them a really big dinner, let them know how much we appreciate them, let them just kick back, relax, and have one night to unwind. We do the same in Fishers, Indiana, and then we go to Atlanta. And then we've got all of the people that are close to us, and we give them special gifts. My favorite gift is cash, but I do a lot in food and beverage, so I'll bring bottles with me if I can. throughout the year and try to just hand out as many bottles as I can to different people within our group, just to let them know that not only do I appreciate the work that they do, but that they're valuable.
Christmas isn't the only time you guys take care of your team either. It's like if they have a monster month, you always show some type of appreciation. I know a couple weeks ago we had Monster Month, and I kind of researched some of the best restaurants in our closers towns because I've never been to St. Augustine and I have no idea anything about North Carolina. What I did is actually I called the boutique and I talked to these like upscale bougie girls and I was like, where would you guys eat dinner? And they were like, oh, we would go here, here, here. Come to find out, it's one of the closers' favorite restaurants and they love going there. And I was like, this is, so I always call like a local store to see where people eat. And I did that for some of our closers from as a gift from our manager. I was actually going to ask a question. It prompted hearing you guys talk about not stressing everybody out. Have you ever had a conversation with a borrower and said, like, listen, we are too close to the end of the year. It is going to get scattered. Things may break. You are not going to get the type of communication. It's not just from our team. It's from the many moving parts, the lawyers, the attorneys, the third-party vendors. Have you ever said, can we wait until after the new year?
I'll always tell a guy, hey, we can go ahead and get you in the process now. I'm happy to take a look at your deal. I'm happy to get you a term sheet. You want to sign it, send it back. I'll go ahead and get you in the pre-underwriting bucket and we can start to do some document collection. But in reality, I tell people all the time, if you have no chance of closing before the end of the year, it's just not going to happen.
It's an unobtainable goal, and I don't want to set you up for failure.
It's not worth the stress on you and your team. And even if you do deliver, it's like during the holidays, no one's going to remember. Like they're going to go start January and like forget that you bent over backwards and you stretched your closer out to get a deal done too. So it's really not worth it.
Don't burn bridges.
You're setting them up to fail.
Internally or externally.
Success, not stress.
Don't burn bridges just to force something to get done. Just don't do it.
Yeah. Going back to gifts too, Emily, I had said this on a panel recently. It's much better if you get gifts too, I think, that resonate with the person or have some sense of significance. So if they went to an example like certain college, they went to or they like a certain sports team, or they like to cook or drink a certain bourbon, if you get them that thing that matters to them, that goes a long way, because that not only shows appreciation, but also shows that you care and you understand them, and there's a connection and a bond you have beyond the gift. Like cash, we do that here too as well, and gift cards. But man, if it's a jersey, or maybe some pot or something that has their school team or that on it, right? That's something that's pretty cool. And like, oh, they not only gifted me something, they understand and they notice things about me. So I'm important to them too. So that's a good pro tip.
Yeah, Chris is actually a very good gift giver. He's very thoughtful. I personally just back up the Brinks truck. You know what I'm saying? Like, here, you get an envelope, a sketchy envelope full, with ones to the brim.
Speaking of, Alan, don't forget 25 bips, 25 bips, 25 bips.
After taxes.
I remember one time I was actually, I really went big one year, and I was giving out some pretty hefty gift cards. I mean, some were like $500. And I was in Walgreens trying to buy all these gift cards, and they flagged me for fraud.
Oh, I've had that happen before. Yeah.
Because there's no reason. He's buying 10 gift cards, and some of them are $250, some of them are $500. Like they legit were like ready to shut the whole operation down. I had to explain to him, like, no, this is
Christmas.
for like a bunch of people I work with. It's for Christmas. And they're like, well, we need to come work for you because nobody's giving us gifts like that. So
see, Sterling, that's when you need to be really good at doing liquor stores, because I walk in and I get gift cards and nobody bats an eye. Cases of gift cards, cases of bottles, nobody bats an eye.
Sterling, remember that spa deal you did, and that 1 year or a couple of years.
It was this year. It was earlier this year.
It was this year, yeah. And I usually, for the ladies, I'll get them a spa package and gift cards from there. And they got it was a Sterling Finance, the acquisition, and they keep a list of like gift card purchases. And I think I was number 1 or 2 on the list. I forgot how much money it was.
Like, I think so we got like a whole spreadsheet of everybody who essentially has gift cards that are outstanding, because, if you buy that business, you have to honor the gift cards that have already been sold. And so, yeah, sure enough, like number 2 on the list is Chris Hackney.
They're like, well, at least Chris is going to keep them in business. But no, I would get those for our clients, employees, and from special gifts from time to time, whatever. But yeah, so
Special
treat your
gifts for
people.
special ladies.
One of my last pieces of advice and or questions here that I wanted to ask was, how do you manage deals that actually do roll over into the new year, Alan?
I don't think that's a bad thing. Some people might call that sandbagging. But
Yo,
The
sandbagging.
old sandbagging.
Episode
Start-
55.
with
We
it.
finally got to it.
If you hit
Start
roll,
of the
then
year-
roll with it.
listen, I mean, internally among our team around the BDOs, we have an internal competition to see who can jump up in the tiers, in the production tiers, the fastest. This past year, Ryan, I think you did it in January.
I did it in January.
Last year.
I was
Wow.
sandbagging like crazy. I think I rolled over about 40 million from last year.
That's great.
Yeah, but the year before, Ryan, you did not, and you really felt that you shot yourself in the foot, right? Because you were you cleared the pipe and you said never again. You would never do that again. I remember you had said that,
Yep.
and I love having a good situation coming into the year, knowing that I do have deals that I've went over and into January, because really it helps you get a good foundation, and then you kind of pick up your momentum from there through the year. So as far as when deals roll over into January, it is not a bad thing, at least in my view.
As long as you're not hurting or penalizing your borrower. If
Right.
your borrower
Yeah. Of
says, I
course.
want to close December 1st, and you're like, let's do January.
It's different.
I don't
That's
see
different,
anything
but if they
wrong
don't,
with the deal rolling over. If they're okay with it, then
Yeah.
why not? Your bank should be okay with, maybe not our bank, but waiting until the next month for that production.
Yeah, I mean, as long as, like you said, as long as it's not hurting anybody, and as long as it's not hurting you too. I mean, make sure you hit your goals, guys. If you're going to sandbag, make sure your life's not on the line at your shop.
Yeah, sandbagging is for the elite, obviously. Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you got zero production, don't sandbag. You know who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but if you've hit your goal for the year, and again, like I said at the very beginning of this, a lot of it comes down to your customer. So if the customer's fine with it, if they want to close at the beginning of next year, then go for it. I mean, the real thing is it's hard to hit a big number if you don't start strong, right?
Yep.
So, a little bit of sandbagging, I think, is what helps people get to some of these larger numbers throughout the year. If you don't close anything in January, February, before you know it, you look up and it's March and quarter one is gone. So you're not going to close anything in January if you aren't working on it in December. That's just the truth.
Sometimes January is a tier jerker. Other times it's a tier jumper.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with a little early in the year production.
that's right.
Nice.
The quickest you get to that top tier, the better. Make it happen.
I think that also goes back to delivering value to your borrower as well as your lender. You might push someone into January, but again, we've talked about it. You didn't stress out your team. You didn't stress out your borrower. You did not stress out anybody, and everybody got to have a happy, safe holiday from start to finish. So, speaking of holidays, which holidays do you guys take the most time off for all the other new BDOs out there?
I'm personally a big Christmas guy. That's my favorite holiday. I tend to essentially take the week of Christmas off, and then I try not to show up again until early January, after New Year's. So I'll usually get back in the office the second or the third of the year, basically. But that's usually my time off, where I kind of I stay home. I try not to travel. I just kind of relax, and I don't know what day it is for a couple weeks. I try and I wake up, I try and relax, watch some television, and just kind of let the world pass me by for a couple weeks. And that's my mental reset. And then when January hits, we're back to the grind, and that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, I'm going to echo Sterling and say the exact same thing. I'm a Christmas guy. I love the winter, love being up here in Detroit where it snows every Christmas. Love having that white Christmas, love having the snow on the ground, the kids running around the yard, making snowman, making snow forts, just having a good time. And like Sterling said, unplug, recharge, relax, man. Just and get ready to do it again Q1. But up here in Detroit, it's a little different because I do get to take another vacation just out of the way Detroit is that's in July. For the last 50, 60 years here in Metro Detroit, the big three, the automakers, they do inventory the first 2 weeks of July, and everybody everybody shuts down for those 2 weeks. It's just something ingrained in the culture here in Metro Detroit that the first 2 weeks of July, people do nothing. They go out on their boats. They
I
go up to
love
their
that.
cottages. They go out and hang out. They do everything shuts down. And whether you're in the automotive industry or not, it doesn't matter. You shut down. You relax. You just turn everything
That's
off.
awesome.
So a second vacation I like to take is the first 2 weeks of July and just shut it down because the rest of Michigan does. So it's kind of been forced upon me as a part of the culture, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
I like to be in a foreign country for New Year's Eve. Typically, I've done that. I think the past six or 7 years, all over the place. What I've started doing too, I'll leave like the day after Christmas and come back, a couple days into January. So you get almost like maybe 2.5 weeks, unbothered.
Where are you going this year, Chris?
Yeah,
I haven't. Mexico City is the plan thus far.
Ooh,
gathering up the
City's
troops.
dope. Yes,
Mexico City. That's what's in the works. But we'll see. I'll let you know.
Alan, what do you do? What's your favorite holiday?
Right now I couldn't be more excited for Thanksgiving Eve because I'm going to have my annual Thanksgiving Eve party where I generally get a slip and slide going in the backyard. Right, we get some little music going. I got a
So
calypso
Florida.
band. We got some paella being made by total strangers in my
Got a
very
wedding?
modest 3-bed, 2-bath home. We got a wedding that Chris is officiating. I think that this year it's all going to be
I'm
about
ordained.
Thanksgiving Eve. Yeah, he's ordained. I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a zoo, but we're pretty excited. But no, I mean, honestly, I'm with everybody else from Christmas through New Year's. I mean, my favorite holiday is the 4th of July, but the grind doesn't stop much for that. I think that, right now in Florida, I'm going to put out my inflatable Santa Claus riding a jet ski just so everybody knows that I am a transplant from the Northeast. And taking that gap off, that Christmas to the 2nd of January, really helping everything get reset for another strong year in 2025. It's necessary. It's necessary for everybody involved. And it's something that we need to make sure that we're taking care of our people. And that's the recurring theme here. The deal making business is the people business. And we need to always remember that there's not anything more important than our people and the people involved in our transactions. We want this to be enjoyable for people. It can't be a pressure cooker. If it's not fun, why are we doing it?
I was gonna say, so the reason why I always love Thanksgiving is because it sets the tone for the Christmas season that rolls in right afterwards. And Thanksgiving, there's no pressure. There's no presents. It's all about just food.
It's all about those
and
yams. Yeah. All about
yeah.
the yams.
But
Yam
I
City.
love
Yeah.
and then
Yams.
everybody
Love
starts to
yams
go
up.
out and get their trees and they start decorating and then we roll right into Christmas and everything starts to feel exciting. And as Ryan and I know, there is snow and it gets cold and it's dark and it's kind of sad
Love
up
it.
here. But when you have all the lights and you have all the family that that are coming here to see you soon, it makes you want to work harder and be able to spend the most time with them, and then you can be fully in your presence with them. All right, everybody. So thank you for joining our episode where we talked about holiday advice. If you guys have any questions or anything you want to shoot over to these guys in terms of wrapping up your year, especially as a new BDO, we're always here at the BDO Show at artofsba.com, and we'll get back to you. And don't forget to smash that like button. Check out SBA Today as well as our flagship program, the Art of SBA Lending Podcast. And we will see you next time.
Stay yammed up.
Yams. Get them yams.